You need a great combined ability to stay atop these machines and push them to the absolute limit. And when you take it to one of the most historical facilities on the tour, they'll bring their best, including the two-time Grand National champ, Jake Johnson. He's in the house and looking to repeat, but he'll have plenty of competition, including from Jared Meese. He's the reigning Grand National Twins champ. The TT riders are at Springfield. It's time to go racing. Welcome to the Illinois State Fairgrounds for the General Tire Flat Track Nationals presented by Canada Natural Pet Food Company. We're here at Springfield, and that always brings a lot of excitement and a lot of fans to watch the best go at it. Speaking of the best, Ken Stout sitting right alongside one of the best, Chris Carr. Welcome, my friend.
Hey, I'm looking forward to calling some TT action.
Absolutely, and these fans are looking forward to some great racing. Of course, you're a Hall of Famer. You've been out here and you've had a lot of success at this racetrack. We'll cover that a little more as the show goes on, but let's talk about these bikes here and get it down to Kenny Sargent.
Well, guys, a couple of the biggest questions you get at a TT race is, one, what does TT stand for, and then what is a TT bike? All right, TT stands for a tourist trophy. That's about a little over 70 years old. Then, of course, the TT bike, well, it's a standard 450 motocross bike, but with some snappy additions. It's a basic production frame, no minimum weight requirement, and of course you want to sink some money into the heads to get that extra horsepower for the bike. And then again, you have the wheels and the tires. Speaking of tires, 19-inch Goodyear tires that you cannot groove anymore. That stopped maybe 3-4 years ago because some teams were getting an added advantage with some special sauce and some special grooves. Then of course you got to have your pipe on the bike. And if you really want to sink some money and run up front with the big boys, this is what you do. Sink some money in your suspension, maybe $3,000-4,000 worth of work. So let's add this up. Get yourself a motocross bike for about $10,000, and then you sink in about $7,000 to run with the big boys. Yeah, there's your TT racing, guys. Let's go racing.
That's really not a bad price, thinking you can come out here with that type of equipment and try to run with these guys. When all's said and done, though, it's the guy on the back of the bike that's going to make a difference. Talk to me about our format here tonight.
Hey, 3 expert heat races. You want to get off to a great start on a track that's hard to pass. Top 4 go to the final. Balance goes to the 2 expert semis. In those semis, top 3 make up your 18-rider field.
And it will be busy, to say the least, as we take a look at Jake Johnson. There's a reason the number 1 is on the side of that helmet. He is your reigning champ, in fact, a 2-time champ. And we had a chance to sit down with him.
You know, a few years back, there was only a few guys that were good at TTs, and that's grown a lot the last 3-4 years. You know, so for flat trackers, turning right isn't as big as a deal as it used to be. You know, it's a lot of guys used to struggle with it. Everybody's kind of cross-training, riding motocross. So, you know, there's a lot more guys that are a threat on a TT now.
All right, let's get you started right now with heat race number 1, and we've got a couple of champs inside of the field here as we take a look at our starting lineup here for the expert heat race 1.
Jake Johnson, number 1, great TT rider. He's won here in Springfield before. He's going to be tough.
And Kenny Coolbrith, another guy that's been doing this for a long time, a 3-time Grand National champion inside of the field. We'll find out what these guys have as we get started here at Springfield in the TT class.
Really important to get a good start here at the Springfield TT. This is one of the toughest tracks to pass on all year long. Jake Johnson, number 1, out front with a great start.
We go on board with Brian Smith, a great onboard shot, and this is the twist here for the TTs. As you can see, they will have to deal with a jump. They have to deal with rights and lefts.
Well, the interesting thing about this track is the jump is also in a part of the track where they're going to have to change direction as well. So many of the top TT riders will change direction in the air, getting set up for the next right-hand corner.
It is amazing how close they can get, but I'm always impressed with the ability to keep a bike from slipping out from underneath you guys. The reactions are just lightning quick.
The Goodyear dirt track tires work really good on the Springfield, Illinois dirt. These guys are going to be chasing conditions all day long, trying to get good drives off the corner. Good drives going to be the key to success here today.
Talk to us about approximate horsepower out of these 450s.
Well, I guess that depends on who you talk to. Many will claim they have as much as 65 horsepower, but I think it's going to take anywhere from 55 to 62 to be competitive here tonight.
And I know you're a firm believer that the tire is the great equalizer in this class. Even if you make a ton of horsepower, you might not be able to use it.
Yeah, Kenny talked about, as much as $17,000 for one of these motorcycles in race trim. I don't think you need to spend that much money. As you said, if you can't get it to the ground, you're wasting your money. So a good working motorcycle is more important than power tonight.
Well, and you can see that chicane right there, if you want to call it that right and left. That's exactly where you need great control, which means the suspension needs to be working perfectly on this bike.
Yeah, change of direction. You got to get through there really quick and get the thing accelerating around the sweep return to the front straightaway. Johnson out in front, total control in this event, has a comfortable lead over Steve Bonzi, and seems to be in control so far. The number one's riding it where he belongs at the moment.
Absolutely, and you can see where this track is starting to slick off a little bit too. It gets really shiny, and you guys typically will try to chase that cushion a little bit, right?
Well, you'd think that, but the temperatures are really hot today. Temperatures early on in the upper 90s. It's hard to keep moisture in this dirt when it's this hot, so we may see some rubber forming later on. Throttle control is the name of the game in AMA flat track racing.
You can also see this is not an easy place to pass, something you touched on early on. That means your qualifying results really dictate where you start, and track position is everything here, so you need to be good right out of the box.
Definitely need to get a good start on this track. It's very difficult to pass. We see the 69 of Halbert chasing the 10 of John Lewis for the last transfer spot. And the 23 of Carver here pressuring Bonzi, wanting to get into second, gets him a spot in the Dash for Cash.
Yeah, the Dash for Cash, unlike other racing series, also pays points. So in terms of the championship, it's a very important position to pick up as you watch our leader Johnson go sailing by. The white flag is out, 1 lap to go. He has checked out, but this battle for second is close. We'll find out if in fact Bonzi can hang on, and he does so.
Good run for Jake Johnson, the defending champion. Great start here this weekend at Springfield.
Absolutely, he is ready to go racing, needless to say. We'll show you our top 4 transfer positions. Johnny Lewis able to hang on there, even from the pressure provided by Halbert. All right, let's get it down and talk to our winner.
Jake, flag to flag for your heat race. What did you have out there that the other guys didn't?
I think just the start. Those guys behind me, they were going fast, but I think the big thing tonight, it's going to be tough to pass. So getting out front is going to be a big key, being able to get out front, run your own race, run some smooth laps. So hopefully you can keep that going. We got a good starting spot for the main event, and that's the key. Get out front and make them try to pass you.
So 1 heat race is in the books. We've got a lot of great racing action coming your way, though, so stay with us.
The Lucas Oil AMA Flat Track Series is brought to you by Lucas Oil. Made in America, sold to the world. By E3 Spark Plugs, born to burn. And by General Tire. Unleash the fury. The Lucas Oil AMA Flat Track Series is brought to you by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source.
Welcome back to the General Tire Flat Track Nationals presented by Canada here at Springfield. The house is packed. The racing action has been great. But this is TT, and it's a little different for some of the guys. We checked in with J.R. Schnabel about how he feels about the TT action.
The TT, what you need to do is you be aggressive, and that's what you got to use to your advantage. You got to go out there, you got to ride hard. You have front brakes, so you got to use both brakes. You got to get into the turns hard. The jump is fairly similar, and most of these guys now are decent motocrossers. The jump is a basic jump for any motocross guy. You're not going to make up time over it. You're at 1 here by jumping over the top of Joe Kopp, so if it's big enough, you can get crazy. It will work, but I don't look for that to be a spot I make up time tonight.
He had a tough run here in this heat race number 2. We're going to show you highlights. If you think you want to compete at this level, watch this heat race here, because you might think again, this one got ugly a number of different times. Jacobsen, Schnabel, Martin, everybody involved. But watch the 9 bike. Mies got off to a rough start. Kochman there as well. But Mies is aggressive here as he falls back a few positions and starts to work his way forward.
Runs up very aggressively up the inside. Jared from Pennsylvania grew up on the tough, rough short tracks in Eastern PA. Not afraid to run it in on somebody. Here, however, I can't say that this is his fault. Mikey Martin, the 91, fighting for position with Jared. Martin gets into the back of the PJ Jacobsen, number 99, and Jacobsen lays here for a while. He definitely got hurt on this one. I don't think he made the restart.
Yeah, and as we watch this replay, you can watch it again, and I mean, really a very, very tough hit for Martin and for Jacobsen. But Jacobsen, watching right here, just whips down, his head smacks off the ground. I would say right there, probably knocked unconscious for a moment, but the front tire of Martin's bike gets lodged in the rear tire of Jacobsen's bike. Mies runs over Martin. I mean, it's craziness.
Yeah, they're all going to feel a little sore in the morning.
You got run over at this track a year ago. You've been there, man.
It hurts. It really does. I got run over up the face of the jump, and they were on the gas when that happened. Fortunately for these guys, they were in the process of slowing down. Off we go again. Number 91, who went down earlier, clips the handlebar, the 49 of Chad Coase. He goes down. I think that brings out another red flag. So we're going to line them up again.
Yeah, and you can see the 91 of Martin, unfortunately, just touching that front tire of Coase. Coase trying to hang on there as he's trying to stand up, couldn't get it done. Mies, by the way, went to the back of the back before, really picked up a lot of spots. The red flag helps him out here, keeps the leaders in check, and finds himself right there in 4th place, battling for 3rd. Him and Martin again, side by side, and then watch this. Talk about get ugly.
Coming off the turn 2 there, Mies real aggressive up the inside, hits the handlebar of Luke Goff, goes crooked up the face of the jump, somehow saves it. The 71 of Mullen clips him a little straight and gets over in the process into the 33 of J.R. Schnabel, and that's a tough hit going down the face of that jump.
Yeah, his face just pounded on the ground there. Another look at it from behind. I don't know how Goff was able to hang on, but Schnabel just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Unfortunately, a bit beat up here after that incident, and Kenny Sargent went down to ask him if he'd be able to return here tonight.
No, definitely not. I can't turn my neck right now on that, so I think I'm going to get checked out. I think there's a chiropractor, Dr. Dale, that comes to all the races, and he looked at it. He said, yeah, I should get in and get that looked at. So, unfortunately, I qualified good tonight, qualified 5th. We were on it, and had a little bad luck on the start and got behind a little bit, and that's what happens. You start racing with guys, and 2 guys got together going over the jump, bounced over into my line, and, we're not even hardly jumping, and I just got bounced off the side of the jump, and that's it.
Classy racer, that J.R. Schnabel. It's tough to see him go like this. Unfortunately, the ugly side of flat track has gotten us all. Let's hope to see him at the track soon.
All right, so we get you back into the action, and look at Mies again. I mean, just on fire as he gets underneath Mullen. I mean, he just backs that thing in there beautifully right underneath him, takes the spot away, and continues to march to the front. Take a look at this battle for 4th. Equally impressive.
Another aggressive rider from Pennsylvania, Brandon Robinson, working his way up as we see Mies get by Jake Matire for the lead here in this heat race.
And of course, that battle for 4th there, those guys need to be smart because they are in a transfer position. All said and done, the 9 bike of Mies does a great job as he works his way from the back of the pack all the way to the front to pick up the win here. More importantly, gets into the dash cash for points and gets him a good starting spot in the main event. And Martin, who was in that first wreck, almost pulled it off in a transfer spot.
Jared, that's how you utilize the jump out there to make that move to grab that lead. Congratulations.
Yeah, definitely. I was really good on the brakes in the heat race there, and hopefully we can, click it off for the main event. My Lucas Oil, Montgomery Real Cycle Center, Rogers Racing, National Cycle, Saddleman Seats, Honda is running phenomenal, and hope we can put a 25 together.
And that, race fans, is how you work in all your sponsors. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The Lucas Oil AMA Flat Track Series is brought to you by Speedco Truck Lube and Tires.
Time now for Heat Race 3 at the General Tire Flat Track Nationals presented by Canada. Another stacked group here of excellent riders, one of those being Henry Wiles, second only to Chris Carr when it comes to total wins in TT competition.
I think overall the key is you just have to be a good rider. Bike setup helps a lot, and on this track tonight here in Springfield, a good start will help. So, you know, I definitely like the TTs. I've won a good number of TTs now, and they're fun for me. It's a little bit more fun than just going in a circle. You know, you've got the 450s, and then you've got the twins. You know, we're riding totally different bikes even. So it's just the motocross style bike, I think, is a little bit more equal across the board and suits my style a little better.
He's going to have a great starting spot here on the inside of row number 1 in Heat Race number 3. We also have a champ inside of the field in Sammy Halbert.
Sammy Halbert hasn't won a TT race. Having to come from the second row, however, it'll be interesting to see how he comes through the field in this Heat race.
How important is this front row starting position, inside versus outside?
A lot depends. You know, at the initial start, if you get a good one from the outside, you'll want to come over on the guys in front. But Wiles up the inside is a notoriously good starter, especially here in this Springfield TT arena.
Oh, and Briar Bauman followed him through the rookie, but unfortunately got a little loose and ended up wide.
One of the tightest turns in all of racing this year is the turn 1 of the Springfield TT. Very easy to overshoot, especially off the start when you're inside it.
Sammy Halbert already working his way up in there. You talked about it from row 2 and now battling as he's in that transfer spot. They've got to be careful. He can lose it right here, though. The 12 gets up in 5. Good job for Brad Baker.
Number 7, Sammy Halbert, like me, is one of the more aggressive riders on the circuit. What he makes up for in height, he makes up for in aggression.
Oh! And a big hit right there for Briar Bauman. The bike ends up on top of him. It just seems like that happens more times than it should. And Chris, look at this battle for the final 3 transfer spots.
The 12 of Baker holding off Halbert, Kirkness, and Daytona winner Matt Weidman. These 4 going for 3 spots. The leader of this pack goes to the dash as well.
Here's what happened to Bauman once again, unfortunately, underneath Kirkness there, and looks like it cost him the front end, and he goes for a ride.
Unfortunate, not enough space for 2 riders at that point, but we got a great race going here. Halbert aggressive up the inside.
Woo!
Gets a little bit into Baker, not too bad, but man, these guys are hungry. They both want to be in the dash for cash.
You can see right behind him as well, Brad Baker will not give that up easily on board the Kawasaki, and it looked like he took a look back underneath him.
Yeah, moves Halbert wide through the final sweeper, and here 82 down, Jeremy Higgins having a little trouble at the back of the field.
And again, this battle going on. Oh, and Halbert one more time pushes Baker out. He's got to be to the point. He's just about had enough. And
red flag comes out, and as they're slowing down, Baker somehow has a handlebar taken from him over the jump. He's fortunate not getting hurt on that one.
And I'm wondering if the red flag came out before that happened to Baker, if he will retain his spot.
That will be interesting to see where he lines up.
Excitement, no shortage of that here. Make sure you stay with us. When we come back, we'll finish up Heat Race number 3.
The Lucas Oil AMA Flat Track Series is brought to you by Lucas Oil. Made in America, sold to the world.
And as you can see back here at the General Tire Flat Track Nationals presented by Candidate at Springfield, it is Jeremy Higgins who is walking off very gingerly there. By the way, the other story that was going on was Brad Baker, if he'd be able to retain his spot. You can see the number 12 there, the Kawasaki. He was, as he went down after the red flag had come out, but he will not get a break from that number 7 as Sammy Halbert's leaning on him again.
Well, Sammy has been very good at scoring a lot of points in the dashes. He's going to want to be there, so he's going to pull out all the stops to try and get by Baker for that position.
The top 4 transfer, of course, into the main event, but the top 2 go to the dash for cash. We mentioned it a couple of times. There's bonus points there to be earned as well.
Yeah, new thing over the last 3 years is to pay points in the dash for cash. Before it was all about the money. These guys, it's about the championship now.
Matt Weedman, another very tough competitor there in that final transfer spot on the 20 bike.
Daytona short track winner the second night. He's looking to get on up in there and try and make the move for the dash, but not considered a great TT rider. I think he'll take a direct transfer to the final, however.
Beautiful shot there as you watch him sail away overhead. And the top 4 with a little breathing room now. Is this where you keep your cool and just try to hang on to the spot?
I think at this point, yeah, with a couple laps to go here, it looks like the positions are set. Weidman's probably not going to gain much other than maybe a position or 2 on the start line for the final by running down Halbert. They are good friends too, so I don't think you're going to see too much aggression between the two.
So the top 4 checking out here just a little bit. We've got to say, Henry Wiles, he just really shines with his TT action out front driving away. 3rd and 4th is what you're looking at right there. And Halbert on the 7 bike, the Yamaha, was very aggressive early on, but now doesn't seem to have the speed to contest for the 2nd position.
Henry out front, very good in transition from the right to left. It seems to me he's getting through that part of the track better than anybody all night long. And that's key to winning Springfield.
And I never heard him pull a gear there.
Yeah, it appears he's coming off running 1 gear all the way down the straightaway. He could be short shifting it through the sweeper, using the torque of the motor rather than the high windy horsepower.
Well, these things have no shortage of torque as they've gone to, of course, the 4-stroke power plants. The 450s make a lot of steam. White flag out, 1 lap to go.
Looks like the positions are set. Baker comfortably alone in 2nd place. Working with a new mechanic on a new bike with Kenny Tolbert on the Kawasaki's this year. They're looking for good things here in the near future.
Great onboard shot there provided by General Tires. You look out of the back over the Monster Energy supported bike. And he'll pick up the win here in heat race number 3. The top 4 stay the same after that final restart. What a great feeling knowing you're going right to the show.
Yeah, getting good starts at Springfield. Henry in a very familiar position, continuing his dominance here at the TTs.
Well, those guys do wheel stands as if it were walking down the sidewalk there. As you look at the top 4 that will transfer in. Let's get it over to Kenny Sargent, who has our winner.
Wiles, I expected a few of those riders to be a little closer to you tonight. That's a runaway, man.
Yeah, you know, that was a good start to the night, getting the whole shot and kind of going away in both starts. That's what we came here to do. The Don's Kawasaki's running real good tonight, and you know, I just hope we can do it again in the main and get a good start and kind of let them worry about me being out front. I was actually thought they were a little bit closer to me. I thought I could hear them a little bit closer, and I knew I was making some little mistakes here and there, but you know, I'd say we pulled away pretty steadily, and that being the gap we had at the end.
And without question, she adds excitement here to the field at Springfield. And she, like us, is wondering who's going to fill out the field in the main event. We have 2 semifinals to cover here. The top 3 in each one will transfer to the main event.
Number 2, Kenny Coolbeth up the inside. Wanted to get into the final, but that whole shot goes to the Australian, Mick Perkins.
Oh,
good
man.
TT rider. Coolbeth goes wide there, and this is tough for him. This has been a hard track to pass on all night. He finds himself in 6th. He's got to get 3rd. It'll be tough for our former Grand National champion to make the final.
Absolutely. By the way, Coolbeth the number 2 bike on the Kawasaki as we go back up towards the front end. You can see the 87. That is Kirkness, the 69 of Halbert, also battling here. We'll keep an eye on those two as we go a little deeper in the pack. Beautiful job.
Ryan Smith aggressively up the inside of 45, Jesse Janish. These guys are fighting for the third and final spot in this semi.
Ryan Smith on the 42, we saw him in there, and boy, if you can get that position on the inside and kind of push him wide, that is a beautiful move, as once again we watch the 45 bike being ridden by Jesse Janish.
Up front, last lap, Mick Kirkness, very good TT rider from down under, the older brother of Sammy Halbert, Jethro 69. Doesn't really need to force the issue here. He's going to the final. All he needs to do is follow him across the line, but he'll take the position if he can get it.
Ryan Smith in third right now as he's hanging on for that final transfer spot, and that's exactly what he'll pick up. So the top 3 are going to go to the main, and as it stands right now, Coolback could pick up the provisional to also make it. Semi 2 is coming next.
The Lucas Oil AMA Flat Track Series is brought to you by Canaday Natural Pet Foods, healthy, natural nutrition for your pets.
Here are some highlights from the Dash for Cash at the General Tire Flat Track Nationals presented by Canaday. We've been talking about it all night as well because it does pay points. These guys ride hard.
Henry Wiles, great start. Jared Mees tries to make a move, big mistake. Easy for Wiles to bring this one on through to the end. 5 championship points, 4 for Mees. 5th place gets 1, comes on down 1 point. 6th, thanks for playing the game.
All right, here we go. Highlights from the semifinal number 2. Wheel stand over there on the inside just a little bit, cost a little bit of time, but it is the 54 of Mikey Rush who takes the point early.
Aaron King in second. Good start from second generation racer. Oh, we got a crash at the back of the grid. Looks like racing lady Nicole Cheza and Ian Steer, along with one of the Sherb brothers, Merle, oldest of the 4 Sherb brothers racing today. Go down and try it again.
And I brought out the red flag, restarted them one more time, and the restart would be a little bit different this time. The 28 doing a great job, just slides it in, drives it in really deep right there as well.
Sean Russell, yeah, Sean Russell, part-time dirt tracker. Does real well here living in Central Illinois. Loves the Springfield TT. Good to see him running in a transfer spot.
One to watch though is Briar Bauman. We were talking about him earlier. Got in the ruck. The rookie, 16-year-old young man is working his way forward hardcore.
On the ground in his heat race, going to have to make up a lot of positions. You see him trying to dice through the field, but here for second spot we have Aaron King. Gets by Mikey Rush, who falls under attack from Lucas Sherb, number 22, up the inside to get the 3rd transfer spot and last spot for the final.
And Rush goes right back at him down on the bottom side, but not able to take it back away. By the way, Aaron King, 2nd-gen racer out here. Of course, his father, Rich King, legendary in sport.
Former Harley-Davidson factory rider. Got to see those 2 race against each other at one time. One of the few father-son combos on the racetrack.
And again, we told you to keep your eye on the 10Z. You can see him working his way up in there now as Briar Bauman gets underneath Sherb.
Yeah, real aggressive move up the inside. Gets into the final transfer spot. Kid's 16 years old. He's on the way up, and really impressive. Won a lot of races as a pro single rider last year. Gets a final transfer spot into our 18-rider final tonight.
The highlights from semifinal number 2. are as follows. Russell, King, and Bauman all making the transfer and going back to semifinal number 1. It is Coolbeth who will make it into the main event, courtesy of the provision. Now this is a main event, but this is for the pro singles race. And right off the bat, things got ugly.
Wow. 4 guys go about 40 feet. Hopefully everybody's okay. Looks like most of them are making the restart here. 76 of Garrett Calise from South Dakota, not necessarily known as a TT rider, but this is his second attempt here in Springfield. Gets a good start, and that's the key to winning here tonight.
And a couple more guys in the back, as you can see, got together, but they finally started to get it sorted out a little bit. It was Vandeker who went down in the chicane. You can see they were continuing on the lap, but eventually the 55A of Jake Shoemaker would go down and cause another red flag.
Man, I tell you, this TT racing should stand for tough and tougher, because these guys they're struggling tonight, and they're going to have to be tough to come out on top.
Finally, things would settle down, and the race broke out. The 94 really driving it in, and then unfortunately loses power. Once he gets down in there, it looks like he snubbed the motor.
That's going to be hard to come back from, but 77A of Eric Stump out front, followed by 76 here of Calise, who had the initial hole shot. And Calise up the inside, and I tell you, there's no place better to be than out front at the Springfield TT.
And we should explain to the new fans, these are typically first-year pros.
These guys are 16, 17 years old typically. Getting some experience in this type of racing. Many of them don't compete in. Most of them race ovals only, coming through the ranks. So a little green, but gaining valuable experience if they want to be a Grand National champion.
Dominic Calendres right there on the 66, hangs on to third as the checkered flags come out. And it was Garrett Calise who hangs on and picks up the pro singles main event.
Very happy young man, winning any race in Springfield Special.
Couldn't agree more, and he's done a great job, so a bright future in front of him. But time now for our expert main event. Kenny Sargent's down there on the front row and headed towards Jake Johnson to get the last-minute story. Kenny?
Guys, we're moments away before tonight's TT main, of course, on your front row, including Jared Meese, Henry Wiles, and then Jake Johnson. And Jake, watching your qualifying heat, you ran away with this thing. Didn't have a great start in Daytona. It feels like it's years ago when you last hopped on this bike, and you want to do much better than you did in Daytona. You got it for him tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. You know, we got to get a good start. There's a heck of a lot of fast guys lined up here next to me, so just going to try to get a good start and give it my best.
Any concern with Wiles next to you?
Yeah, you always got to look out for him. He's fast.
That's no lie. Wiles is fast, but then again, you got Jared Meese 2 doors down. Guys?
It will be an exciting race. They're putting the helmets on, getting the bikes fired up. When we come back, we'll drop the green flag in the main event.
The Lucas Oil AMA Flat Track Series is brought to you by Dynamax, pure unadulterated power.
The expert main event is about to begin here at the General Tire Flat Track Nationals presented by Canada. We're at Springfield. This is a big one on the mantle. If you can win here, it can complete the resume. Here's a look at the starting lineup, and we have 4 champions inside of the field.
And 15 guys wanting to take them down. 19 riders going to start this. Our 4th champion in the field tonight, Kenny Coolbeth, with a provisional start. The only one he gets for the year on the singles, and he's hoping to make good use of that tonight.
So the guys all lining up here, trying to shake some of those butterflies just before the start of this main event. There's always some last-minute stories, and for those, we'll go down to Kenny Sargent.
Guys, one of the keys tonight, of course, is going to be the track. Talking to your front row riders, they love the way the track's handling, but that was only for the 10-lap heats. 25 laps into it, we expect the track to maybe go away lap 15, lap 20. So watch this track maybe to stiffen up, lose the softness of it, and provide just one lane coming through the turns. Fellas?
Well, he brings up a great point when you talk about the 25 laps, much longer in distance. This track is going to change substantially. The green flag's about to drop, and we are racing here at Springfield.
Off the start, it looks like Wiles out front. You know, this guy got 3 hole shots tonight. The first 2 he won. We'll see if he can make it 3 for 3 now.
Jake Johnson was right there on him as well, and is still there right behind him as they're 2 wide as they enter the chicane.
Johnson moves up into second, right behind Henry Wiles, with Mies in third and Sammy Halbert running fourth.
On board with Jake Johnson here, courtesy of the E3 Spark Plugs, and Mies right behind him. We saw Mies before, who was so aggressive during his heat race, just bullied his way up through there, if you will. We'll find out if he has anything for Johnson.
Well, I tell you, the track right now, with it being freshly groomed, this is going to be the best opportunity to make passes. There's traction everywhere initially. As the laps wind down, the track's going to brush off where they're riding primarily. It's going to get drier, making the racing lines a little bit narrow. Right now is the time to make hay.
And looking back at the Yamaha on board the number 7 bike is Sammy Halbert. Halbert hanging right there with Mies, has not given up an inch so far as he tries to keep that thing settled down underneath him.
You know, Sammy hasn't been known to be a great TT rider, but he is from the Pacific Northwest, known to put out TT champions. He struggled all night long. I think he's ahead of where he felt he would be at this point.
But you can see some of the riders, I mean, obviously you're back one end and you're a little sideways, but it looks like if you can keep it upright just a little bit more, you can really apply the power just a tick quicker.
You know, having rhythm and good smooth throttle control in your transition is going to be the key to going fast here tonight, as we see Baker moving up behind Jeffrey Carver. A couple young riders that burned a lot of laps in the pro singles class a couple years ago. They're wanting to move up toward the veterans at the front.
Good stuff here. This is a lengthy race. You don't have any time, though, to sit around and take care of stuff. I mean, it is go time from the drop of the flag. No point in holding back. Well,
as hard as a track as it is to pass on, it's also very hard to make up time. So if you find yourself drifting back, making it that much more difficult to gain time as the track slows down and develops.
We should also tell you a very warm day out here earlier during the heat races, some 97 degrees, a lot of humidity. So needless to say, you've got to be in great physical condition to hang on.
And I would say the riders on the AMA Grand National Flat Track schedule right now are probably the most in-shape racers in the history of flat track.
Boy, Mies with a quick save right there. By the way, Wiles is checking out. Once again, just absolutely on fire with this style of racing. Let's get it over to Kenny Sargent.
Guys, you know how earlier I was talking about how your more experienced riders will twist the bike up and land it like a motocross rider on the jump? Well, Jake Johnson, that's what he's doing, and he's losing ground, Wiles.
And you've raced against Wiles. I mean, both of you guys have gone at it tooth and nail. For whatever reason, as we take a look at this battle here a little bit deeper in the pack for 10th, he just has some magic out here in these TT races.
Henry is very smooth, very aggressive, but he doesn't spend a lot of time in the air. There's not a lot of wasted motions. He's very economical in his style on TTs, and that's why he's won 10 of them up to this point.
A couple of 10s in the field as we take a look at this battle for 9th. One of those 10s is Johnny Lewis. We also have Briar Bauman on the 10Z.
Briar Bauman, real aggressive. He's passed a lot of guys from the third row. He was the next to last rider on the grid. He's definitely moving forward.
Yeah, and he passed a lot of guys in the semis, too, to get into this main event. So the young kid is digging hard at 16 years old, out here battling with the best.
He's got a bright future, and showing his prowess on the TT track bodes well for his future.
That big number 1 plate showing proudly, but that is second place right there. Jake Johnson trying to hold off Mies. Mies aggressively keeping the pressure on.
You know, I would imagine for Jake, it's tough to concentrate on wanting to chase down our leader when he knows he has somebody breathing down his neck. So you want to be aggressive, but yet you don't want to leave a door wide open for an aggressive guy like Jared.
just constantly amazes me, the saves that these guys make. I mean, the average person, while the average person could never do what we're seeing here, but could never make those saves. I mean, that's a wreck for everybody else. These guys save them time and time again.
And a lot of that's just natural reaction. These guys have ridden their entire lives.
Right there.
And when the bike has a little hiccup like we just saw there with Jake Johnson, it's natural reflex to bring it back in line.
But it's a very, very quick reflex, and that's where your ability is certainly different than everybody else on the planet. It is awesome to watch these guys do what they do.
Jeffrey Carver wanted to make hay on Sammy Halbert. Makes up a bunch of time through the chicane that time. Wanted to put some pressure on the veteran racer, see if he can make him crack. But Jeffrey was our fast qualifier earlier tonight, and I'm starting to see a little rubber form down going into turn one. You see the track starting to turn blue in a few spots. That's a little rubber getting embedded in the dirt. Sometimes it's got some grip. Sometimes it's actually slicker than the really dark brown stuff. So we'll see how that develops later in the race.
Well, I'll tell you, Mies is right there on Johnson. He is definitely applying the pressure, no doubt, not going away. You would almost say, if you can stay that close, he might be a tick quicker, but as you mentioned before, it's so hard to pass.
Very difficult to pass, but if Mies can find a way, he will. Remember, last year, these two guys came down running for the championship at the last race. Jake Johnson came out on top. These guys are no strangers for running elbow to elbow. They're from the same part of the country. Johnson originally from Jersey and Mies from Pennsylvania. They've got a rivalry going there as well.
Great onboard shot there as well as we went over that jump, and now it looks like the 12 is definitely going to apply some pressure there on the 23 as Carver is trying to hold him off here. We'll see if he can hang on. The 12 bike, by the way, being ridden by Brad Baker.
Brad Baker, the Pacific Northwest, really good TT rider. Wants to get up and have one of his better Grand National finishes with the newly formed Kenny Tolbert racing team. I know that Kenny Tolbert guy pretty good. He and I worked together for 23 years. I hope to see these guys do well.
Sammy Halbert on the 7 bike, 24 years old. The 23 right behind him, that is Jeffrey Carver Jr., 21 years old. And this is a battle for second. Jake Johnson and Jared Mies really going at it here for this position. Exciting stuff. Just a few laps are left here at Springfield. Stay with us.
The Lucas Oil AMA Flat Track Series is brought to you by Speedco Truck Lube and Tires, Canada Natural Pet Foods, healthy natural nutrition for your pets, and by Lucas Oil, made in America, sold to the world. The Lucas Oil AMA Flat Track Series is brought to you by Pack Racing Springs, manufacturer of off-road suspension springs and sway bars.
Welcome back to the General Tire Flat Track Nationals presented by Canada. As the group goes by, we are in our expert main event. This is the battle for fourth place. 4 guys going at it, and it has been hot and heavy.
The 7 of Sammy Halbert leading this 4-rider freight train, battling for 4th position. Certainly the best race on the track currently. Well, it's something fell off. It looks like Halbert's motorcycle, part of his muffler came off going over the jump. Hopefully they'll get that out of the way for him.
Is that a item that he could be DQ'd for? Maybe a performance enhancement if the stinger comes off?
I don't know that it's going to gain horsepower. I mean, It's not like all of a sudden he got steroids on that bike.
And as you can see, going through that left-hander, he has lost the muffler. The number 7 bike of Sammy Halbert has lost the muffler.
Well, I will tell you this, it'll probably unnerve Sammy a little bit because all of a sudden that motorcycle is going to be about 20 or 30 dBs more than it was, and it's certainly going to affect the power characteristics.
And we go back to this battle for second as Johnson manages to hang on. Got a little bit of breathing room there from Meese, but Meese immediately starts to close the gap again.
Jake has smoothed out real good with 1 lap to go here, but not as smooth as that number 17 of Henry Wiles. He's been on rails all night. As we go into the chicane here on the last lap, he's got through that section very good all night long. I think that's his key to this victory.
Look at that. I mean, he looks like he's on cruise control out there. And he does pick up the win. Congratulations to Henry Wiles. And the number 1 will hang on to second place. And a huge wreck deeper in the field will also involve the 40 of Aaron King.
Wow, we never want to see anybody go down, especially on the last lap of the race. But congratulations to Henry Wiles as we see Jethro Halbert and Aaron King. Not the way they wanted to finish their night.
Absolutely not. Wiles, though, really doing a good job. I mean, he just drove away from the gang here tonight.
This guy's been tough to beat in this Springfield arena over the years. I think we'll see him as a very good chance as the all-time winningest TT rider in history here in a few years. He's got the TTs dialed at the moment, that's for sure.
Are you prepared to give that up, by the way?
I'm ready, yeah, that's fine. I expected it sooner than this, to be honest with you.
And as you take a look at our final results from the expert main, courtesy of Ultimate Batteries, let's get it back down to Kenny Sargent, who's with our winner.
Henry Wiles coming into victory lane. Congratulations on that. You had Johnson on your inside, Meese on your right side, but it's as if there was nobody there out of the gate.
Yeah, you know, once again, Adonis Kawasaki just pulled up off the line, and fortunate for us, we got a good start. I kind of made a few little mistakes on the first lap, but I think once I started clicking them off, I felt really good, and you know, I don't know what was going on behind me, but made a few little mistakes throughout the race, but I felt really good, and you know, it's a beautiful night here in Springfield, and I'm just happy to be able to do what we've done here once again. And I missed the race here and last year in 2011 because I was hurt, so I'm glad to come back here and back it up after some subpar Daytona finishes. So we got max points tonight. We led all the laps. We won the main event. We won the dash.
That is getting it done to have a perfect night here at Springfield. Speaking of the points, here they are from General Tire, and the top 2 are locked up.
And we see Henry Wiles, 3rd race of the year, 25 points out.
Jake, what did Henry have that you didn't have tonight? He ran away with this thing.
Yeah, I mean, he's got this place dialed, you know. I've been able to win the race here twice. But both times were rainouts on Monday during the day. I could never quite beat Henry here at night. He's got this place dialed, but it's just good to be back up on the box. You know, back up in second. You know, after Daytona, we had a bad time in Daytona, so it gave me a little reminder that I didn't forget how to ride and shouldn't, you know, throw in the towel yet. So we're back on track.
Yeah, I don't think I'd throw in the towel just yet. Make sure you keep up with all the action at the website, lucasoil.com. You can also like us on Facebook. We'd love to hear what you have to say, and feel free to hit us up on Twitter as well. But don't hit yourself up like that. The racing action in Springfield, delivered as expected. It's always very exciting. For Kenny Sargent, Hall of Famer Chris Carr, I'm Ken Stout. Thanks for watching all the great racing action.